The new trolleys are not affordable. The ones they made by hand are more cost-effective. Pakistan can use these recycled plastic barrels. After simple assembly, they can naturally create a cheap trolley. How do they do it? If the price of the trolley is high, their small workshop will replace the iron barrel with a plastic barrel, which greatly reduces the cost of manufacturing and makes it affordable for everyone in Pakistan. For the convenience of loading, the loading bucket of the body of the trolley will have a relatively large exterior. In order to make this cylindrical plastic barrel meet the requirements, the master first needs to confirm the dividing line through the toes. In order to make the head smaller and the bottom larger, as for the dividing line not being in the center, the master needs to use iron sheets for comparison. Then draw oblique lines on both sides of the copper body. The main purpose is to cross the previous marking line. In this way, a makeup bucket with a smaller head can be obtained to prevent the goods from falling during the journey, because the overall cutting needs to be completely aligned with the marking line in order to avoid unnecessary damage to the oil barrel. Even this high-end curved tool, our small workshop is also equipped with a machine. This not only speeds up the cutting efficiency of the plastic bucket, but also makes the cutting line very accurate. Under the master's very fast and flexible cutting, the plastic copper has become a bucket. Because it is made of plastic, the cut surface cannot withstand the impact of loading and unloading goods. In order to avoid cracking of the cut surface, this triangle iron with higher hardness has become a reinforcement method for their small workshop. When the triangle iron is hit, the impact force will be transmitted to the entire cut surface of the bucket, and the plastic copper will not be directly stressed and cracked. The triangle iron needs to be firmly fixed. The whole position can be fixed with screws to meet the requirements, which can facilitate their subsequent work. The plastic bucket is affected. The triangle iron is basically motionless under the fixation of 4 bolts. The arm end of the plastic bucket is easily penetrated. In order to allow the bucket to be stressed in sections, these iron plates need their manual roller plate rolling machine to shape the bucket into a consistent arc amplitude. At this time, these bent iron plates are used as reinforcement ribs at the bottom of the bucket. The main purpose is to stick it to the surface, to achieve the purpose of increasing the strength of the bucket. After all, the plastic bucket is definitely not as good as the plastic bucket. In order to make these reinforcement ribs play a force-bearing role, screw fixation is also indispensable. After the prototype of the plastic bucket appears, in order to allow the reinforcement ribs to connect to a hole, these bottom iron plates need to be connected to the edge of the triangle iron, so that even if it is hit, the bottom frame can bear the force. In order to allow the trolley to be pushed, it is necessary to build a bracket for carrying the bucket. In order to make the overall bearing capacity stronger, they also choose thickened and thickened triangle irons and weld them with their free welding rods. In order to prevent future use from breaking, they also fully weld all the joint gaps to ensure that there will be no quality problems. Since they have already cut the foot iron in place in the early stage, the master's assembly efficiency is also very fast. At the same time, their welding rods are consumed faster. Under the master's smooth bare-hand welding, the bracket will be spliced with the plastic bucket. The iron plate used as reinforcement ribs in the early stage can be fixed to the bracket by welding, so the step of fixing with screws was abandoned. The color is blue. In order to unify the overall appearance of the whole cart, the surface of the bracket should be sprayed with a layer of color. The paint can not only achieve the uniformity of color, but also isolate the air to prevent oxidation and rust. After the paint is completely dry, the most important tire can be installed. The thick tire is obvious. This is a new cart. After the master quickly fixed the last screw, the cart that only used 18 screws to fix it has been successfully produced. Christian really makes the best use of waste products.